last caller brought up a headline concerning an arrest warrant for an Israeli official. Before I read the article, I said it'll be rescinded by the court. I've seen this happen multiple times. It always creates a big flurry of interest, and then it goes nowhere. Israeli fury over British war crimes warrant for Tzipi Lavini. Israel's government issued an angry warning today that its ties with Britain were in jeopardy over a UK arrest warrant briefly issued against the Jewish state's opposition leader and former foreign minister. Well, Israel, the government of England doesn't control its courts if they're impartial. It has emerged that a London court issued a warrant at the weekend for alleged war crimes committed last winter's Gaza offensive, and then rescinded it when it became clear that Tzipi Lavini was not on British soil. So there you have it. Okay, let me, like I said I would do, finish up with the news, or finish up with your calls, then get into the news here. Continuing. Curtis in Indiana, you're on the air. Welcome.
Hey, Alex, how are you? I just want to say thank you for the things that you've done. I saw Endgame about a year ago on the internet, and ever since then I've been doing my studying and researching, and I appreciate everything you do, and God bless you.
Thank you.
And I just want to ask, is Codex Alimentarius going to go into effect on December 31st of this year?
People for 20 years have been saying it's going into effect every year. It's going into effect in increments, like a glacier grows. The UN has these big consortium meetings. Governments and private corporations sign agreements to go back and try to restrict minerals, vitamins, and other things to the public. And yes, they've agreed to try to implement massive restrictions on all vitamins and minerals to make them prescription. Big drug companies are now coming out with their prescription versions of vitamin E and vitamin B and fish oil. And they have tried to raid alternative health places. They are trying to shut them down. They are trying to restrict. And it's a process. But it's kind of like 7 years ago, Bush signed, and Republicans went along with him and passed, the so-called campaign finance reform, which increased the money corporations could give, but restricted individuals. So the public was told, oh, this is going to stop. And that law states that 6 weeks before an election, I can't talk about politics as a radio host. I can't have a pro-gun group on, an anti-gun group on. I can't have a politician on. But everyone just ignores it. It's clearly unconstitutional and a fraud. It's like if the government passed a law today saying murder your firstborn, like many ancient cultures would do as a test of power over the slaves. Or when the slaves bred too much, they would routinely kill children. That's what governments do. That's what eugenics is. The public just hasn't figured out the more things change, the more they stay the same. And so, that's basically what's happening here. Anything else?
Well, I live in Indianapolis, and they just recently put up that system to where if a firearm gets shot, they'll ping it and find out exactly where it's at and what type of weapon it is, and it's going to cost our city like $3 million or $4 million.
Yeah, it's total quackery. Austin put that in 1998, but they've never busted anyone for discharging a firearm with the gun detection system. What it is shotgun microphones on cameras. And then you'll find that that's hooked into your local threat integration center where they're openly merging it with the regular Army and CIA. This is all public now. I've got the RAND Corporation report on it. Here it is right here. Total federalization of all police. And just a fraud. But I tell you, Indiana is way ahead of the times. Indiana was the first state almost 20 years ago to put in license plate reading cameras. Did you know that for more than 15 years, everywhere you go is tracked in Indiana?
Yeah, I know. It's bad everywhere downtown and anywhere. You could see it all the cameras. It's really bad here. And one last thing I wanted to say, have you kind of noticed that the new Al-Qaeda spokesman is the American Adam Gadon?
Well, of course. I mean, we've written countless articles about it.
Yeah. Dead. Do you believe he is?
Your phone cut out. Say that again.
I believe Bin Laden is dead. That's why
sure. No,
Adam is...
Yeah. I got to move on, Curtis. I appreciate your call. I really do. Adam Gadon hated Arabs so much. He's Jewish. He hated Arabs so much that he was arrested beating them up outside mosque. I mean, this guy was a super mega Zionist. His grandfather was one of the founders of the ADL, one of their board members, and he gets up there and apologizes that Al-Qaeda is killing innocent people. I mean, he's been caught when they uploaded it to the Intel Center, openly run by former heads of black ops from CIA. That's on record. The Intel Center uploads Gadon videos and other videos in the same video layer as the Intel Center's bug, the Intel Center's graphics. They are producing it. I mean, they were caught red-handed. We've blown their videos up here. They've had video experts for Wired Magazine and others look at it. But you can blow up video layers if you've got a computer and look at it. And it's done on the same layer, the same generation. The pixel shapes change per generation and per encode. I don't know how to get into all the technicals for you. The point is, it's clearer than fingerprints. And the CIA thinks it's funny. They get a young Jewish Mossad guy up there, and he wears a turban and says, "I will get you America. We're going to kill you. Give up all your rights." I mean, give me a break. I mean, I just can't handle it anymore. He's almost laughing when he's talking. He's such a bad actor. But he's doing important work for the New World Order. Let's talk to... Because remember, this isn't about Muslims, even if you hate Muslims. The Homeland Security is for gun owners, conservatives, libertarians. Remember that. We have the official Homeland Security internal documents. It's all about you. You're the slave. You're the property of the bankers. They know they're committing crimes. They know you're going to resist it. So the Pentagon's watching, okay? They're there to make sure the crime continues. That doesn't mean our military's bad. It means those running it are running it for those aims, period. Our military's been hijacked, just like when Hitler hijacked the German military. And you better grow up and admit that. But, yeah, having the ADL head's grandson run around, it's just so ridiculous. And the media never talks about it, but it's admitted if you drill in. I mean, it's a fact. Let's talk to Francis in Canada. Francis, you're on the air. Go ahead.
Hi, Alex.
Yes, sir.
I was wondering if you could help me confirm or deny a rumor I've been looking into about your favorite human being, George Soros. And what I'm hearing is that early in his career during World War II, he was pushing forged British pounds for the SS. He was a collaborator with the SS. And also that he was turning in his fellow Jews to the Nazis in exchange for SS gold.
Yeah, that's what Bob Chapman... I need to have him flesh that out. He's not on the next few weeks because of the holidays, but when he gets back in the first of the year, or he may be on before then, I can ask him to elaborate. I know that Soros is a arch criminal, posing as a liberal. And I know that Madeleine Albright's dad robbed people for the Soviets in Czechoslovakia and was a war criminal. And I know that John Shalikashvili, who was the former chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, I know his dad was the head Nazi in Poland. And so I do know that huge fortunes were made by some European Jews, books have been written on this, off robbing other Jews and working with the Nazis. And there's been actually some books written by, one of them's a famous, we got to get him on, he's a Jewish professor in New York City. He went and actually got the documents where some Zionist groups wouldn't let Jews get out to England or the U.S. They would make them pay millions to the Zionist groups, and they'd split it with the Nazis, and only let them go to Palestine. And you see that with any of these type groups. You know, the leadership of all these hereditary or religious groups is always feeding on their members. Feeding on them. And it's horrible. It's just absolutely horrible. I mean, it makes Madoff and what he did to Jewish groups look tame. But I don't have any proof of that. I haven't fleshed that out. But I believe Bob. I mean, Bob's always pretty accurate here. What do you think?
Well, apparently the British tried to extradite him right after the war for pushing their forged British pounds.
Yeah, what's your source? I mean, I'm asking. You're asking me. I'm asking you.
I'm looking on the internet. I've been researching this on the internet, and apparently the British tried to extradite him from Israel like around 1948 when it was just created, and a young Golda Meir, who was Minister of Justice, denied the British the right to extradite him.
Yeah, well, you don't want to persecute a real Nazi if you find one. Only fake ones for the public consumption. Just like with Al-Qaeda, don't arrest real Al-Qaeda. Arrest a 14-year-old, torture him for 8 years, and have them confess to crimes they publicly couldn't have committed, crimes that were committed after they were incarcerated.